There are 7 secrets that I use to never feel stressed with my ADHD. The very first secret that I think a lot of people do not even think about when it comes to their ADHD and feeling stressed all the time with it is thinking about the adrenals. The adrenals deal with a lot of different hormones that impact our stress levels throughout the day. Things such as like cortisol. If they're very high, you're going to feel very agitated and stressed. Also, things like epinephrine and norepinephrine that manage and regulate our stress levels consistently. And people with ADHD actually have a significant issue typically with norepinephrine as well as epinephrine. And so that is the very first thing that you should look at. And so the secret number 2 to help continue supporting the adrenals is that adrenals need a consistency of having regular amount of proteins throughout the day, and also healthy fats and vegetables to supporting a lot of the minerals that actually support the adrenals. And if you are not eating consistent proteins, which a lot of people with ADHD, myself included, have an issue with this. And so I always have to remind myself to consistently eating proteins, healthy fats, and vegetables. And when I do so, I feel like I don't have stress. I feel like I'm really good because it's managing a lot of these different hormones that also the adrenals and also different hormones in our body are able to be built, and having good levels of epinephrine and norepinephrine and testosterone and all these different things that really help manage our stress levels if we're consistent eating protein throughout the day, healthy fats, and vegetables. To take it another step further, the third secret to really never feeling stressed at all with your ADHD is you have to use certain techniques that I have found that have been very helpful for me, and it usually has to come with grounding yourself. If you're feeling high stressed and you're dealing with panic attacks, your nervous system is on fire. It's just exploding, and this is why you are experiencing these panic attacks, feeling stressed all the time, because you need to use techniques to ground yourself. So some of the techniques that I have used and I use with my patients and clients, number 1 is going outside, taking your shoes and your socks off and walking on barefoot. It's really weird, but what this technique does, it literally does ground yourself. If you think about electricity and lightning, well, there's grounding because there's pluses and minuses. And with our nervous system, it's the same thing. If we walk somewhere on ground foot, it helps ground ourselves. It is a really unique technique, but I find it really helps a lot of my patients and clients when they're having a panic attack come on, they're feeling really stressed and having this anxiety. But also along with that is using breathing techniques. This is something that I used a lot that helped me, especially when I had a lot of anxiety around taking tests and exams. I would do breathing exercises where I breathe through the nose, out through the mouth, trying to slow down my breath rate. And so that way I can provide oxygen to the brain and really calming down the nervous system. Another thing that I do find that's very helpful is being in nature and being consistent to be outside, especially getting the sunlight, getting vitamin D. A lot of people with ADHD have vitamin D issues. And so getting that can really help reducing your anxiety and stress levels. And along with that, secret number 4, I find this is so vital for every person, myself, is being consistent with exercise and getting good quality of sleep. Whenever I find that I am not consistent with exercising on a regular basis and not getting good quality sleep, I tend to finally feel the stress and the anxiety creeping up. But whenever I'm really consistent with exercise and getting at least 8 hours of sleep each night, I find that I'm not stressed. And it is because these two things help regulate a lot of our hormones, but also really impact our brain's health significantly. Now, secret number 5 are there's certain supplements that I have found that can be helpful to adapt the body. These are more adaptogenic herbs and also different minerals that can help support really the nervous system and also support bringing your stress levels down. First one I would say is RHODIOLA. This is a really great adaptogenic herb. There's plenty of research on this that it does help bring down stress levels. It does help bring down cortisol levels, which is really important, especially if you feel really stressed and have high cortisol levels. So it's definitely something I use as well as I use with a lot of my patients and clients when I feel like they need it. Number 2 is L-theanine. L-theanine is another great one that you could either drink green tea or get it from a supplement form of taking L-theanine. This also has a lot of research on this of helping managing your stress. The third is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha has plenty of research around, and I've seen this, where it has proven to show to reducing cortisol levels significantly. Now, this is where you got to be careful because sometimes you might have low cortisol levels and still will feel stressed. And so if you have low cortisol levels, you might not want to be using something like ashwagandha or rhodiola. So I typically will have people take ashwagandha and rhodiola at night before they go to bed so they can have a better quality of sleep, and that can kind of reduce the stress symptoms that they're experiencing. Another great one is B complex. So this has all the B vitamins, all the activated form B vitamins that are really critical for modulating a lot of these different neurotransmitters such as epinephrine and norepinephrine that help manage our stress. And if you are deficient in these levels, you are going to need to use something like a B complex because people with ADHD tend to have low B vitamin levels. Another great herb is valerian root. This is another great adaptogenic herb as well as an anxiolytic that helps with anxiety and stress levels and bringing down the nervous system. And it's another one I probably typically usually will give at night to help calm the nervous system so people can sleep better and not feel so stressed at night. And the last supplement that I usually will typically give, if it makes sense, is adrenal desiccated. So if the cortisol levels tend to be low, adrenal desiccation can help bring those cortisol levels to help with stress, but also even help with energy if that is an issue. Now, if you seriously are needing some help and some guidance, I have a free ADHD health guide in the description below that goes over all the list of supplements, nutrients, and tests to run to help improve your ADHD. The sixth secret, and this one I would say is the most important, even if you added all the rest of them, if you don't do this, nothing else matters. And this is really taking charge in eliminating the internal and external stressors that you have in life. I know it's harder said than done, but you should put this as a priority because if you have a terrible relationship or a work environment that is causing you stress every single day, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what supplements you take, doesn't matter what kind of nutrients you implement, you are constantly self-sabotaging your body where the body cannot heal itself. If you do not remove yourself from these situations, your body just won't heal. And so you need to really take this seriously, even if you have like complicated to-do list. Try to simplify your life, especially with ADHD. What I find to try to simplify things makes my life a lot more easier. And I find to work smarter and not harder by just simplifying things consistently and changing and simplifying my schedule so I don't feel overwhelmed and stressed all the time. And this I find is so key and a big secret for my success of never feeling stressed all the time. And the seventh secret, I think this is very vital. If you are been trying everything, it's probably because you have never actually looked at your own body chemistry numbers and looked at what really is out of balance. And this is very important because you're going at it blind and you need to really check your body chemistry levels to see what's out of balance. So typically when someone is feeling really stressed with their anxiety, some of the big things that I like to test for is one, testing your cortisol, testing it throughout the day to see where there's spikes and there's dips because cortisol has a lot to do with our energy and our stress levels. The second is doing hormones, especially for women, even for men, to testing testosterone, progesterone, estradiol, and even DHEA, which is a precursor to a lot of these different hormones. If these are out of balance, these things can make you feel more stressed and agitated. Another important test is looking at doing a full panel of a micronutrient test, testing all vitamins, minerals, amino acids, antioxidants, because if any of these levels are deficient, a lot of the symptoms of deficiency on these different vitamins like B vitamins, vitamin D, iron, magnesium, zinc, you name it, a lot of them actually contribute to symptoms of anxiety and stress when these levels are low. And the last I would say is testing your neurotransmitters, specifically epinephrine, norepinephrine, even dopamine and serotonin, because if any of these levels are actually too high or too low, you will have symptoms of feeling anxiety, stressed, agitated. And so it's important to identify, are these out of balance? And maybe you might be taking a medication that may be causing these levels to go too high to making you feel stressed, especially a stimulant ADHD medication. I see it all the time. So if you're someone who wants to know why you feel stressed all the time, then you should watch this video next because I go in deep explaining why you always feel stressed all the time with your ADHD. So watch this video next.